nuclear defense program was out in space. Well, in the new book, Karen Tumulty writes, quote, of all things that Nancy wanted to see her husband achieve as president, ending the Cold War, she believed could stand as the accomplishment that secured his legacy as a giant among U.S. presidents. She made no secret of her dream that a man once branded as a cowboy and a jingoist might even win the Nobel Prize. For more on this, let's welcome in New York Times bestselling author and Newsmax analyst and presidential historian Craig Shirley. Craig, great to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
Craig also wrote the Mary Ball Washington, the untold story of George Washington's mother. How about the untold story, or maybe it's been told a little bit, Craig, about Nancy Reagan and her influence over Ronald Reagan? In this book, is it overstating things a little bit, or was she really this influential in ending the Cold War?
No, I think it's overstating things by quite a bit. I know Karen Tumulty. I've known her for years. I don't trust her. She works for the Washington Post, which is an untrustable publication. She asked me to help on the book, and I asked for assurances if I helped her. She refused to give me those assurances, so I didn't help her with the book. The idea that Nancy Reagan had some sway over Ronald Reagan's principles is ridiculous. She had the advantage of pillow talk, like all first ladies did, but did she affect his policies on the Soviet Union? No. Reagan always said from day one he wanted to build up our defenses and bring the Soviets to the table so they could talk peace. And that's exactly what happened. He built up our defenses, he brought the Soviet Union to the table, and they talked peace. And with the exception of Reykjavik, they were able to secure a nuclear-free world.
Yeah, you don't really hear much talk about who was in the room and who was helping Ronald Reagan write the speech about tearing down that wall and that type of stuff. But, you know, books are made to be sold, right, Craig? So
exactly.
There we go.
Yeah, they got to write for a reason.
Yes. All right, let's talk a little bit more, too, about Prince Philip, passing away today at Windsor Castle, 99 years old. This really is this really was the end of an era. We talked, too, about, you know, served with distinction in World War II as a member of the Royal Navy. But, Craig, talk to us, too, a little bit about his role as the Queen's sidekick. I know it's probably not the technical term we should use. He was, of course, the Duke of Edinburgh. But such a difficult role for him because she was the first of her kind in his modern, very, you know, media-savvy world. He was influential behind that image, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Well, World War II was thrust on both of them, and both of them served very honorably in World War II. He was in Malta in the Mediterranean, for which he was decorated, was engaged in highly dangerous activities, and she was actually a mechanic during World War II, even though she was Her Royal Highness. They'd been corresponding since the time they were children, later married in 1955, I believe, and one of the reasons that he was brought into the marriage was he was of Denmark and great heritage, and she, of course, was British, and the British bloodlines had turned very badly. They were turning out hemophiliacs and idiots because of inbreeding. The brothers marrying sisters and men marrying cousins and things like that. So he brought in fresh blood so that wouldn't happen for the future, and it didn't with Charles and the others. And of course, he was her consort, her sidekick for all those years, and he did something like 2,000 public events without her as well. So, and he was involved in many outdoors activities, and was a great representative of Great Britain, as was she. And he did have a good full life, and he should be honored for that. It's going to be a tough go at the funeral with Harry, you know, attending and drawing all the attention away from his grandfather. That'll be unfortunate, but hopefully that won't be too bad.
Yeah, no, it's an important point because, of course, that will be part of the storyline, all the inner strife among the royal family and the tension between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. But this is, you know, we don't want to lose sight of the fact that the role that Prince Philip played. You know, and as it relates to when you see the British royal family here in the United States, we'll never see something similar to what we used to see, Craig, with Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh here in this country, will we?
No, we won't see it. Won't see him attending the White House as he did in 1979 under President Carter, and again in the 80s under President Reagan. He was quite down to earth. He was quite plain-spoken. He mixed it up with the commoners in his own country and those in other countries. He was not effete or not highfalutin in any way. He was very down to earth.
And here he is with serving champagne to the Harlem Globetrotters. And of course, he won't be back at the White House.
Yeah.
But, you know, seeing a monarch and, you know, the Duke of Edinburgh, as we see with Queen Elizabeth, obviously it won't be the same with Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles when they come to the United States.
No.
Not the same thing. We got to run. We're out of time, unfortunately. But thank you for your insight on this and also on Nancy Reagan and the Cold War. We always enjoy the conversation.
You bet, John. Have a good weekend.
All right, stay with us. We got to preview what's coming up later today on Newsmax TV and something new for you this weekend. Don't go away.